buses. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I almost forgot. One minor drawback to this delightful winter sport is the high-speed crash. That hurt. Always remember, your bones will not break in a bobsled. No, no. They shatter. Hey. So, who wants in?
Well, not me. Welcome back to the arena. I'm Michael Corran, and I tried that once. Never again. It's a death fest, a blood sport, a crime beyond words. Yes, tobogganing. Yeah, I know. But joking aside, various towns and cities in Iowa and other states have banned it. In Hamilton, Ontario, I didn't know this, it's been restricted for 15 years. They're pretty tough in Hamilton. And the fines for offenders, they're really extremely high. It's all, of course, for our safety. Because we have to be protected, especially the children. Yes, won't somebody think of the children? Paige McPherson does, and she's here to discuss. We need to keep our kids safe, and we do keep our kids safe, and kids are pretty good at keeping themselves safe. But this idea of telling parents, if you allow what has gone on for hundreds of years, we'll fine you or even arrest you. Good Lord.
Well, yeah, there are some very qualified people out there to keep their kids safe, and those people are parents.
Yes.
Tobogganing, this is funny for me because I read this story and I didn't know either that it had been banned in Hamilton for 15 years.
Well,
There's also restricted. There's also a hill in Toronto and in Etobicoke, the west end of the city, where it's also banned. And the hefty fines are the penalty. Now, it was funny to me when I heard this because I thought of when I was younger and I used to go tobogganing, and of course, like every Canadian kid who lives maybe anywhere outside of Vancouver or Vancouver Island where there's snow, I would go tobogganing, but my parents were very protective. And I was the kid on the hill that would wear the helmet. But my parents said, if you want to go, too bad, you have to wear a helmet. And I felt like a dork at the time. Another thing they made me do, and this is, I guess, a good tip for any parents watching who actually want to keep their kids safe without a ban, is to be on your knees. So my parents would be there watching, make sure that I'm on my knees, make sure that I have my helmet on, and I never got hurt tobogganing.
Yeah, but you were terribly bullied at school. and quite right, too.
I had to stick up for myself for being the geeky kid
on your
with the
knees
helmet.
with the helmet on.
Yes. But that's a good example of parents keeping their kids safe, doing an activity that maybe they're concerned about. That was when I was like 6 years old. Yeah. And kids, you know, some kids have gotten hurt tobogganing. I remember there was a story when I was younger, and according to a National Post article, 7 people have been killed in Canada between 2003 and 2007 for sledding. It can be dangerous.
Were they children or were they adults going very fast?
It just said people. So, I mean, either way, people can. It's something where you can get hurt, and I think that it's legitimate for cities to say if there's a popular tobogganing hill and there's a tree in the middle of it, maybe you want to remove that tree. But to ban it, to take away this very Canadian pastime in the interest of we know what's best for you and we know how to keep you safe is pretty frustrating.
Or American pastime. In many states, the culture is very similar to Canada. They have cold climates. And we do have this cult of overreacting. And it's not just a left and right thing, because, I mean, look, I'll be absolutely candid with you. I think we even see it on this network. We have people who get very, my golly, there's another child sex offender and children being abducted. I mean, children, thank God, are still pretty safe. Now, any abduction is the most horrible thing. Of course it is. But the numbers are pretty much the same as they always were. You will always have these vile people in society, but children are still pretty safe.
Right.
They're pretty safe when they walk the street. They're pretty safe when they toboggan. They're pretty safe just being around. Accidents can happen. We overreact. It is this, won't somebody think of the children nonsense. That's what really annoys me.
I know, and that's one of my favorite Simpsons clips ever. The one that I consistently use is Reverend Lovejoy's wife saying, won't somebody please think of the children? Because it does apply to these stories, you know, that we talk about so often, and it's a terrible justification for any policy, I think, really. And so there is this example. There's another example. I remember, I think it was in 2011 when a Toronto school banned the use of balls at recess. I don't know if you recall that. Ironically timed.
That was true. That was genuine.
Yes.
There was a satire where kids were playing soccer or without a ball.
Yeah.
And they had to imagine where it was. And that it was. But the thing about that satire is many people thought it was genuine.
No, but this actually happened. This was in a Toronto school, and ironically timed because at the same time there was a government, I don't know whether it was provincial or federal, government ad encouraging kids to play sports. So when they were all lying down and all these balls came in, but then of course the school had banned balls at the same time. Anyway, I'm sure that there are some kids who sometimes do get hurt on the playground playing with a ball.
Yeah, it's called
that
life.
There was
a hockey team. The players were told they were not allowed to win because it would hurt the feelings of the other team. Toronto Maple Leafs. That was a joke, sorry, a bit clumsy, but I tried my best. When did this develop? Because it's, you know, I'm in my mid-50s. When I was growing up, my parents were very caring and loving and quite protective. But you left home, you came back from school about 4 o'clock, and then you ran to the park, or you cycled, everyone had little bikes, to the park, and you played soccer or whatever till about 7 o'clock, so it was almost dark, and then you came home. And the assumption was you would not be taken away by aliens or explode, or you'd just come home safely. When did this change? When did people become so clawingly protective?
I don't know. I think we do have a sort of obsession in society right now with, as you say, I think that there is a lot of overreaction. That's a common thing. But we also have an obsession with protecting people from harm before the harm happens. So whether that is when it comes to protecting people's feelings, you can't win or else you'll hurt their feelings, which, you know, I slightly offended by your Leafs joke, but that's something that really happens in schools. I mean, we see it all the time. People are, the anti-bullying legislation, whatever the issue is, they try to protect people from their feelings before it happens, you know, in advance. And then we see things like the ban on balls or the ban on sledding or different things like this where we're really trying so hard to protect people from harm, but the reality is that that's sort of just life. And the more you keep kids in this weird bubble protected from harm, the worse off they're going to be when they're out on their own.
It's rather paradoxical because the same state that wants to protect children is also, at least in extreme examples, introducing education, sex education, which is so radicalized, which is harming them in far deeper and more profound ways. I mean, a cut on the head is going to be unpleasant, but you know, you're going to get over it. Cut knees, you will get over it. But something like that can damage you for years to come. So on the one hand, this physical protection, on the other, emotionally, and this also, the most pernicious of all, that a state or a teacher or a principal is the one raising your children, not you.
Yeah, that's a really excellent point, actually, about how they, you know, these sex ed curriculums and how we're sort of pushing certain views on children when they're not ready for them at all, and then trying so hard to protect them from things that really we're not going to be able to protect them for, no matter how much you legislate bullying, anti-bullying laws, no matter how many balls you banned on playgrounds, or if you ban sledding, kids are still going to be kids, and they're still going to do things. They're going to be rough and tumble, and they're going to get hurt. But it is sort of this notion of takes a society to raise a child, or a community to raise a child, as opposed to the parents, and that's, I guess, the idea behind this. It takes a village.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
The subtitle, actually, it takes Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah.
Yeah. My jokes are not going down well with you at all today, aren't they? Do you have any photographs of you on your knees with this helmet on at the age of 6 or 7?
Oh my gosh, I hope not.
You've got, you know what? We'll send this. We'll call your parents because we have to get a photo of you. Do you toboggan now?
No, but I would if I was taking out a kid.
And would you put the helmet on again?
Probably not, but maybe I would put it on the kid.
I have to tell you though, the first, I think almost the only time I've tobogganed, I wasn't married yet, but I was spending time with my future wife and her family. And they said, oh, tobogganing, we all do this in Canada. So being an idiot, they just put me in this thing, and I went down very quickly, and it went over a bump. And I landed on, I suppose, my spine, and it hurt a great deal. But I mustn't show pain, mustn't show pain. I thought I was disabled for the rest of my life, but it did. I mean, you have to be sensible. But kids, actually, they're much lighter. They bounce a lot. And no parent worth a name is going to send their child on a huge hill.
Right.
It'll be a little hill, and if they fall off, they roll over and they laugh a lot. It's the end. They're not made of glass. As always. And it's very nice that, is that the royal crown you've got around your neck there?
Sure, we'll go with that.
I thought you were royalty. Do you know Prince Andrew?
Oh my gosh.
That's for tomorrow's show. Thank you very much indeed. And let us know what you think, please. Email and Twitter and all that. And our Facebook, sunnewswebsite.ca. And there's all sorts of material there. And all sorts of material still to come on The Arena. Don't go away.